What's up, everyone? Welcome to Unmasked, where things are discovered, uncovered, brought to the light, and made known. I'm your host, Lamar Barrett, coming live to you from PG County, Maryland. If you're interested in finding out about the untold stories behind being a college coach, this is the show for you. Being a former assistant men's college basketball coach for 16 years, there are so many untold stories behind the scenes in the life of a college basketball coach. Now, let's unmask them. Today's guest is the longtime assistant coach, has an intelligent basketball mind, and a great friend and a sounding board. And an Indianapolis, Indiana, and Reston, Virginia native. He always got to get a shout out to his Naptown people. But like I said, today's guest is Eddie Jackson. Now, Eddie, and tell a little bit about his bio. He went to Ohio State, graduated from Ohio State in 2000, got into high school coaching, went back to his old high school, worked for Wendell Bird, the great Wendell Bird at South Lakes High School from 2003 to 2006. Also coached with Nova United with Randy White. The AAU program did an outstanding job for both of those places. And then he got into college coaching, where he was at American University, first time for a 7-year stint, 2006 to 2013, were the first 3 years of that first 7-year stint. He was the director of basketball ops. The last 4 years, he was assistant coach on the staff with Jeff Jones. He ended up going to 2 NCAA tournaments while he was there. And then from 15-20, where he's president now, back at American University for a total of 12 years thus far, as an assistant coach for the last 5 years. 12 years total, doing an outstanding job at American University. He also snuck in there a little bit. He was an advanced scout with the New York Liberty for a couple of summers, 07 to 09. And I just want to say welcome to the show to my good friend, Eddie Jackson.
LB, thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, man, Eddie, you know what, man? I publicly got to say it, like, I'm not at American University if it's not for Eddie Jackson. I just remember I was home at Brown. I was working at Brown at the time. I was home, back in the D.C. area, visiting with my mother-in-law. It was her birthday, and we're taking it out, and I get a call from Eddie Jackson asking me, am I ready to come back home? Do I want to come home and coach at American University? And he kind of told me how to go about it. And from there, we actually worked together for 3 years. I'd already been friends with him in the business, and then it just became like a brotherhood or just a brother. We were like brothers for those 3 years that we worked together, and we've always been cool. But, I had to get him on this show. Told him he got to come on and get unmasked. So, EJ, man, we're going to get right to it, man. We'll get unmasked. Okay. First thing I like to ask, and you know this more than anyone, like, there's no handbook to being a college coach. Tell me about your first day, and you can break it up in 2 ways: when you became director of basketball ops and when now you've thrust upon the road. But tell me about that first day, the first week, the first month, after things are done, with human resources and orientation, especially when no one gives you direction. Tell me what that was like.
Well, my first week was interesting. I got the job the end of June. It was a long process. It was a couple months. It took a long time. I got the job at the end of June. I didn't start till July. In July, everyone was on the road. So my first day, I got my keys. I don't even think coach or anybody was there. They were like either heading out or already gone. So I was inside the office, by myself without absolutely any direction. And none of the assistants or coach wasn't even in the office for the first 10 days or so, because that was when the recruiting period was different. So I was answering phones and writing down a lot of messages, when I started. As an assistant, I had been around for a while, and I had some experience, working with a lot of college coaches when I was an AAU coach. And after working with, the staff before, I learned a lot from those guys. So I kind of knew what to expect, from the road and in terms of, how a coach operated, which was a little different from a lot of people who just get hired from, to a staff. So that transition was pretty easy, for me. I was just fortunate to be able to get bumped up and get on the road, right away.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Now, we all know that recruiting is a lifeline of college athletics. Like, got to get good players, got to get good people. And in your line where you are, you got to get good students. So I go to this and I say, what was your best and your worst recruiting story?
Best and worst recruiting story. Let's go with the worst recruiting story. And I don't know if it's worse, but it was definitely you'll remember this one. There was a young man from the DMV that I spent a whole lot of time recruiting, like several years. And had him over at camp every year. He was coming to games. Kid wanted to come to AU. Wanted to come to AU. Mom was on board. Everyone was on board. The kid loved it. He was doing interviews and videos in AU, like camp gear, after high school games. And then like it was coming down to time that he told me he was going to commit in a couple of days. And then we go on a foreign tour. And we were in Belgium, I think. And then the time zones were different. I got a call, I think it was like at 3:47 in the morning. And it was the kid on the phone telling me that he wasn't coming to AU anymore. And there's nothing worse than being like, all the bad news comes in the middle of the night, right? So when you get a text or a call, after midnight, when you've been, especially from a recruit, it's normally bad news. And that was, without a doubt, a damper on the trip for me. And that one hurt because I spent a lot of time with, recruiting him and the family, and I really wanted him to come to AU. So if that was the worst one, I'm okay. The best one was different, and I can drop his name. I got a call from a friend. We were looking for a point guard. I got a call from a friend about a kid that he had recruited to another school and that he was looking to transfer. And he said, whatever you do, he said, man, he's a good kid, great kid. Just watch some film. Let me know what you think if you're interested, and watch some film. It was good. Young man's name was Pee Wee Gardner from Houston, from Yates High School. And it was a couple months we were going back and forth. We was recruiting him, watching a lot of film. Everybody in the office liked him. The kid told me he wanted to commit on his birthday. His birthday was, he just had a birthday. It was like the 1st or the 2nd of July. So we waiting. And his birthday fell on like the first day of camp for like team camp. And I go all day, didn't get a call. Finally, I got a call about 9 o'clock. It was after camp. I'm making a camp run, getting like Gatorades or something. And he says, Coach, I just want to tell you, I'm not coming to AU. And I was like, for real? So then I said, okay, cool. Get off the phone. Best of luck to you. I texted his dad and I said, Pops, thanks for, all your help recruiting Pee Wee. He told me, we're not the choice for him. He called me right back and said, Jack, give me 10 minutes. Next thing you know, I got a couple text messages from several people in Houston saying, we're gonna have a family meeting. We didn't know the decision was made yet. So then they have a family meeting. I get a call right before midnight. So I knew I had a chance, but it woke me up. And he just said, and even to back up further, I texted the staff and I was like, hey, Pee Wee's not coming. He chose somebody else. So everybody got this text message. And then I got a call right before midnight saying, Coach, I just made a bad mistake. I'm coming to AU. So I told him, I said, all right. I said, this is what you do. You call Coach in the morning. We got camp. Call him before 6 o'clock, East Coast time. and you let him know that he's coming, that you're coming, like, so he knows it's real. So what I did was I texted everybody, the staff, like at midnight. It's like, Pee Wee's coming. So everyone woke up confused to everything that I said. And then in the morning, he called Coach Jones, and, you know, we all talked again, and, you know, it was done. He went and had a great career, won the championship, took a team to another championship final, and outstanding young man.
And I was there for both of those. I remember we were roommates in Belgium when that happened. Oh. I remember that. Yeah, we were both up at 3:40 something in the morning when that happened. And then I can remember the Pee Wee one because you called me. I didn't get the text. I got the call, and how do we go about it, and actually worked out for the best. So, you know, like I said, I was there with you for both of them. And you know what? Sometimes it work out for the best, especially when you got Pee Wee Gardner, like you said. He ended up taking the team to the NCAA tournament and had 2 great years there at AU. What did you, because we all know this, like, what did you have to give up achieving your current level of success?
I think that the easiest thing to say is just time with family, which is obviously, I'm very family oriented. So that was the main thing. Another thing is just, you know, you grow up with some guys, you go to college with some guys, and you have dreams, and you talk about all the things that you're going to do, you know, once you get a job and you make a little bit of money, or, you know, for like vacations and all that type of thing, weddings, you know, all different activities like that, you know, because you just don't have a lot of time. You know, you work all year round. Even when you're on vacation, you end up working. But that's probably the main thing, you know, that I had to give up and sacrifice.
So true, man. So true. People don't understand that at all. Like the time that you give up, sacrifice, you know, all the things you miss that, you know, it means a lot to other people. It means a lot to you, but you just got to be able to tell your family and friends that you can't do it. Or that's the crazy thing.
Everybody wants to go on vacation in July. Like, can't go on vacation in July. Everybody wants to go on vacation like first week in September. And school starts. You know, Christmas break, you're playing, you're practicing. So all those times it just doesn't fit.
So brutal, man. Like we all know this too. Scouts, how important it is, how much time coaches put into their scouts. You're involved with, you know, some of the other guys on the staff, but when it's your scout, you know, everyone knows when it's their scout. You watching the game, or if you watching the game live or on TV, you'll know who scout is, how they acting on the sideline. They jumping up and down, they invested, they screaming and yelling. You know, we went over this a million times, and you can also tell when coach is like looking at you and saying different things to you, especially when you got some stuff wrong. Like, so what was your best and worst scouting report?
Best and worst scouting report. Well, you know, scouting is unique because, you know, you watch all this film and you break down, you know, every team's tendencies, personnel, what they do, what they run, all that type of stuff, how they play. And every staff is different. So sometimes you get to get with the scout team before practice. Sometimes you just do it. Coach says, hey, take the scout team and walk them through this. Then we play. But my worst scouting report or scout, it was twofold. So the first time, you know, I got with the scout team before. I forget who it was. I got with them before. Everything was running smooth. Everything was good. Coach kind of changed up the flow of practice, so it wasn't what the guys were used to. So then it came time to do, you know, to play live and go over their stuff. And some of the guys forgot what we went over. That's always been a challenge. And then there was a specific time we played a team where they run 50 sets. I mean, they run a million things. And then coach will pick the one play that they don't run nearly as much as the other plays. And you try to be diligent. You try to know your stuff. You try not to use the piece of paper, right? You try not to look down a lot. And then finally he stumped me. And then I couldn't remember and I froze. And then, another assistant kind of helped me out. And it was something basic. It's just something that was just like, it wasn't in my mind at that particular time. And it was probably the least thing that they've ran, So that was probably the things that make scouting reports difficult in the past. As far as the best scouting report, I think I've had some pretty good ones where, the guys were always in the right place. They were up for it. They seemed to be talking defensively and, taking advantage of the things that we saw, for us on offense. It seems like they all kind of run together, and they always don't result in a win. So I want to say, I think I had GW one year, years ago, and we just didn't shoot the ball great. We did everything we wanted to do, and we came up short. Had a really good one down at Florida. We went down and played the Gators, and we played them to a really, really close game. Like the guys were locked in, and like we had no business being in the game, on paper. But like we took them down. I think it was like a 4-point game at the end. Like had a chance. It seems like I'll remember like more of the ones that didn't go the right way than the ones that went the right way. So those are two answers.
I feel you. I mean, those are the ones that do stick with you more than anything. Is like when they don't go the right way a lot of times. What's the biggest challenge you've experienced since you been in college coaching?
Biggest challenge has been it's kind of twofold. Balancing the family, but I think being in college coaching, the biggest challenge, and at that time it seemed to be bigger, but like now it's really not. And that was just bouncing back from being let go from a staff, especially after you did a good job, some would say outstanding job, and then to be kind of to be let go was the challenge, because you got to pick yourself back up. You got to figure some things out. You asking why, especially when the results were there, and then people were questioning like, what happened? Like nothing happened, and then it's just weird. It's a weird and unfamiliar situation, for me. But I know, college basketball, you're hired to be fired. And it doesn't matter how great of a job you do, eventually, everyone will run into it. But it's just, really how you spend your time, how you trying to fight and claw to get back in. And that was probably the most challenging, thing basketball wise.
And I agree with you. Like there should have been questions. I was there, so I know what he did do an outstanding job, and so I kind of shake my head on that one because I couldn't believe you when you first told me, and I'm there every day, so I knew, and so we've had that discussion, before. Do you ever find that there are things about you that people, misunderstand? Like what are they?
I think that people misunderstand. I don't know if people misunderstand. I know some guys, my circle is very tight. It's very small. I don't need to, say names. You know who you are. You're in it, but everyone that's listening, you know who you are. So I'm not a self-promoter. I don't get out there. I try to let my work speak for itself. That probably says probably sounds very cliche-ish, but I'm extremely passionate, extremely competitive. You know, I know a lot of people, they may think they know me from being outspoken on social media about a lot of different things. You know, it seems like they feel like they know me by some of the messages they send or respond or text messages I get after something goes up. But, you know, most people don't. I tend to stick to myself. I speak to almost everyone. You know, I say what's up, but I'll keep it moving. But I'm definitely not quiet, so no one thinks I'm quiet. But, you know, I try to be reserved, you know, at times when I need to be reserved.
I feel you. I do feel you. What do you, because we all know this, man, we're always educating all the time in this business. I think that's why we got into it, not just, you know, everybody, not for the money. I mean, we just want to see young men grow. What do you try to teach, you know, your players besides basketball?
No, I try to teach all of them that, one, the ball is going to drop. It's going to stop bouncing. But I try to teach them that there's more than life than just the basketball. I think that is, you know, everyone used to say ball is life and all that stuff. And I was like, once you go through some real life experiences, you'll realize that ball isn't life, and it's a part of it. And it's a great tool to use to kind of maneuver through life and to gain experience in a lot of different avenues. But I would say, man, what was the question?
Basically, like, what do you?
What do I teach guys? Yeah, so I just try to teach them. You know, I teach them about. You know, I always ask guys about the family, how they're doing. You know, encourage them to call the mom. Hey, Mother's Day's coming up. You know what's going on. Make sure you reach out. You know, Father's Day. You know, to thank somebody who, you know, who helped them along the way. I try not to talk to them about basketball that much, unless we're like on the floor or if I got to watch film with them. Just to kind of make sure that they're not, you know, we want them locked in on basketball and their books, but I also want them to be well-rounded. Sometimes we talk about current events. Sometimes we talk about, you know, what's going on in the world. But, you know, I try to get them to be as well-rounded as possible. I don't want to just have basketball conversations, you know, all the time. I don't want them to leave thinking coach only cared about me for basketball, because there's so many other things that's more important, you know, once the ball stops, you know, bouncing and while they're playing. So
true, man. So true. What are your best and worst memories in coaching?
Best and worst memories. We had a bad upset. We worked together. Bad upset at home. I think it was the semis against Lafayette. We had a really good team. And we had grown so much throughout the year, like we were ready. Finally, at the end, I think we had a 2 seed that year, and we got upset. That was a bad moment. That was, relatively speaking, right? It was a game, we lost a game that we thought we should have won. We should have been playing for a championship. That was bad. I think, you know, the flip side of that, positive moment was obviously going back to back, you know, 2 championships. But what I really enjoyed was the year I was out. So I think this was 14-15, 14-15, watching the AU team, you know, win the Patriot League, you know, championship, watching those guys have a lot of success. That was in Coach Brennan's first year, because I know how much they went through prior to that. And I know how much, you know, they were going through learning from a new coach. And I went up to the game, you know, they all invited me to the game. They wanted me there. I went up to the game, and I sat in the stands, and I watched and I cheered them on, and they won it. That was a really good moment for me. And I wasn't even coaching. You know,
There's a lot of those was your guys as well. So I understand, because those are the same guys who called and said, Coach Brennan coached them, but like you said, when you recruit some of those guys who were playing, it means a lot when they go and win it. And then when you hear from them saying thank you, including Coach Brennan,
right.
like, hey man, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So that was a plus as well. But no, that was good. And I like asking this question, like, and you kind of, it may be tied in with something you answered early. Like, what was the most stressful situation you faced?
Most stressful? Honestly, I'm not sure it was most stressful for coaching, but it had to do with juggling time. This is definitely unorthodox, answer to a question. But, I had, both my parents at different times were in and out of the hospital for a significant amount of time. And then I lost my father for 3 years or so, to pancreatic cancer. So the most stressful thing was still trying to be 100% present, in the job, not kind of relinquishing some responsibility, even though the staff was great. Those guys were awesome. If you need to be gone, we can do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, they were great. But I still wanted to have my, my role. I wanted everyone to know that I was there. So scouting reports didn't really change. I was there. Boom, doing the scouting reports. I was there practice. I'd go to the games. And what would happen was, after practice, I'd be driving an hour and a half to go see him in the hospital, spending time there. Then for a stretch, it was like 2 months, and I would go to the next hospital and then come back. After games, getting back in the middle of the night, I was driving, to go spend time with him. And then, I was burning it in both ends. And while that was happening, I had just had a newborn. So I was flying back from recruiting, spending time with my daughter, and then going to practice, and I was burning it on both ends. That was stressful for me, but I just knew I had to, you want no regrets. And that was it. Like, burn it until it burns out, because, tomorrow's never promised. And, that's what I was trying to do. And I was juggling family, newborn, dad, mom, so that was stressful. Like, when you do stuff like that, like losing the game, right, for your job, it means something, but it doesn't compare, to losing life. It doesn't compare to things like that. So that was where my stress came. And the stress is just a relative word,
Yeah. So true, man. I remember definitely checking on you more then than any other time. Just, sometime a call, just, letting people know you're thinking about them. That's a huge thing. So I understand that, definitely understand it. And what you were going through, just because I felt it and I knew, everything that was going on. And this is a little bit different because you've been at AU, so you've probably seen some things, probably even whether I was there or not. But what is the strangest thing a player has done outside of the basketball court?
There was a young man. He was awesome. Frank Warden, relentless defender, good player. He's a mega star athlete. He came on his recruiting visit, and he had a guitar, leather jackets, and some aviator shades. And I don't even know if he brought like a bag of clothes. But ran across Frank during his visit, sitting under a tree playing his guitar. And I had never, ever seen anything like that before. And that was to me, that was one of the weirdest things. Guys don't come on visits and do stuff like that. They come and, they hang out. He was out there by himself playing his guitar, and people were like around while he was playing his guitar. So that's definitely the one I could share. That's definitely what I can share.
That's a little strange. That definitely is a little strange.
Yeah. Everything is pretty basic.
And I'd like to ask this because you worked for Jeff Jones and Mike Brennan. And so that's 12 years. And if you had a chance, and this is not, you're not looking for, I'm not saying Mike is not looking for a job. We're just asking, like, you've seen a lot of good coaches in this business. You pinpoint somebody like, man, I would love to work with him, just to see what he thinks a lot, or, how he goes about things. If you had a chance to work for anyone in men's basketball, like, who would that be, like, and why?
So, like you said, not saying Coach Brennan. If I wasn't working for Coach Brennan, he would be one of them. I think there's a lot of guys. My main thing is I'm obviously an older assistant. I value different things than a lot of guys, especially the young kids. Can't say young kids, the young men in the business. I really want to work for good people. I want to work for good folks who, value that you're going to work hard, value your time, that allow you to still, spend time with family and know that there's things going on outside of the office. Because a lot of folks aren't that way. And I'm sure there's some guys out there, that are like that. I know there's some assistants that I would like to work with. As far as like head coaches right now, I'm really learning more about, Coach Hamilton down at, FSU. I'm really amazed at all the great things that he's done and what he's been doing. I like the job that Earl Grant's doing. We go back, from when he was getting in, and, I watched his progression. Who else? Coach Brown, Milan Brown was always a guy that I would want to, we always talked about working together one day. That's just kind of off the top of my mind. It's guys that are head coaches. I guess Milan's not anymore, but there's some guys, I'd love to work with you again. Obviously, Coach Williford. It's a lot. It's some guys, and those are all guys who get it, right? They all understand, that we got a job to do. You're going to work hard. You're going to do everything for your players. You're going to develop guys. You're going to be there for your guys. You're going to, but you also, got a life. You got a family at home, that you got to feed, that you got to be there. Where some guys that they just aren't into that stuff. They don't really care about that. They want you to be in the office for 12 hours a day. And regardless, they just want you to punch a clock in and just be there, even if you're not doing anything in the office. We're all reachable now. We all got cell phones. We're all reachable. We can all work remote. We're learning that now, right? So really work for good people.
I like that, man. You had some great names in there, and I appreciate it. Saying working with me again. I mean, that was, like I said, that was a great. You know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you can work well together. I just think that's a plus. A lot of times, people don't understand, like, a bond you get with a staff and how well you work together. It makes the success so much better, man.
Right.
What biggest accomplishment you think you've experienced since you've been in college coaching? Like, just accomplishment.
One, longevity. I think, people sometimes they crack jokes saying I'm like one of the longest tenured assistants at the same school in the country. I had 2 stints at the same school. I've clearly done something right. But, it seems like the lifespan isn't that long in college basketball. And it's very difficult to get in. It's extremely difficult to move. and it's damn near impossible to get back in once you're out. So especially in my case, when you didn't come from a basketball family, you know, of a head coach, or played for a guy who, you know, has a million assistants that went on to be head coaches. So, you know, I take pride in being able to have a job, and to be at a place that you like, with kids that you like, with good kids, and definitely working for a dude that, you know, that you got a lot of respect for, and who's a damn good coach. So.
It serves. That he is. This will be kind of a little lighter side. Might get you to laugh a little bit. Like, what movie or TV show title best describes your week?
Or title. Movie. I'm not a big movie guy. And all the movies I watch, they don't relate to how I live. So, movie or title, TV show. That might be a pass. I'll let
you think about it. You can come back.
Yeah,
we may come back at the end.
Okay.
We may come back. What's your favorite word or phrase that you like to use?
Oh, probably got a couple of them, but you'll laugh at this one. Definitely, I would say boogie. And you know, and just in reference to, you know, in scouting report, or when I'm out recruiting, I'm looking for a guard, you know, that can handle the ball, that can, you know, get downhill, that has, you know, what I would call some boogie, you know, that can get past the defender, you know, don't need a screen, don't need a ball screen, guy that can just get to where he wants to go whenever he wants to. So you'll hear me say, this kid got a lot of boogie. Like, we got to get this kid. He got all the boogie. Or on the scouting report, it's like, I got to be careful. I got to sit down and guard because the kid got a lot of boogie. And that would probably be a word. Yeah, people make fun of that. The kids have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. He got boogie in his game.
Boogie in his game.
I used to love that on the scout report. Couldn't wait for that. EJ, like, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I don't have just one. I'll tell you, and this could be a nugget for the young guys. And was the best advice looking back now that I got that I didn't take advantage of. Guy who's a head coach now, he's been a long time assistant coach at the high major level. I was knocking on every door trying to get in. I was getting close, kept getting close, and he just said, "Hey, this is what you do." And he told me at that time that he tells all the young, you know, black assistants this. And he said, get to know all or as many high major white assistant coaches as possible. And the reason being that was that, you know, in our profession, you know, unfortunately, the landscape is what it is, and hopefully the movement is going to change some things where more minorities and more black guys become head coaches. But, you know, the premise was those are the guys that are getting jobs. And then when they get jobs, they don't know any black guys. So if you can develop relationships with these guys, you know, over time while they're being assistants, that when they get their chance, because they're going to get more opportunities than we will, right? And at other schools than we will. It would give you an opportunity to move throughout the business. And that was the best advice, and I didn't take advantage of it. That was the best advice that I got in terms of college basketball.
Awesome.
That's probably an answer too.
What does success mean to you?
Success means to me, you know, I'm a very, success to me is fatherhood. I have a daughter, a beautiful daughter. She'll be 4 in October. Um, Being there every step of the way, for her, in every capacity. I'm extremely active and involved. Um, and that's really being the dad that initially I didn't have, and then I ended up having a stepdad later in life. But fatherhood is definitely what success is to me. In relationship to the job, I want kids to come in, and I want them to leave more mature and better than when they came in. We've promised these families, moms and dads, that we're going to look after their son. And that 18 to 22 year gap is the most important gap. I think in their lives, it's definitely at that time, but that's when you can mold them the most. And that's why we try to do so many things outside of just basketball. You know, I love to see all those guys graduate, or even read about them graduating. But I want to make sure that they're ready. And then everyone wants to say, and I know it, and I get it. Everyone wants to say, you want to get a text about a wedding, you want to get invited to weddings, you want to do all that stuff. Like, all that stuff is great, and I think it's fantastic. But the reality is, you're not gonna get to go to everyone's wedding. Some weddings are small, some weddings are big. You may not get an invite, but that doesn't mean that you weren't impactful in their lives, right? So, a call or text, here and there, a thank you. I got a player who just reached out the other day, asked me, how's Zoe doing? Things like that. It makes me feel good, and it makes me think that, it wasn't just basketball, and that's success to me. But definitely fatherhood is numero uno.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Where is your happy place? Because we know that there's tough days in practice, tough days in games, just tough things in life. Like, where is your happy place?
Happy place, right now, like I said, I mean, this is not redundant, but it's absolutely true. Spending time with my daughter, and it's only been 4 years, right? So, she makes bad times good. She makes good times great. It's awesome. I'm an older dad, so it's awesome to go through this. So that's my happy place. That's not the answer. Number 2 is easily, zoning out, listening to some music, just kind of relaxing. And it doesn't matter where I am. It could be on the balcony, it could be on the deck, it could be in the car, it could be, but just trying to take your mind off of, everything, and just kind of re-energize a little bit is my happy place. I don't go to a lot of movies. I don't watch a lot of TV. I think most people that know me would probably say watching, my Buckeyes play football, but sometimes that's stressful, man. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes they just make it a little bit too close for comfort. So that's normally a happy place, but not during those 3 hours.
I like that. And I was gonna bring that up, but I'm glad you did. The Ohio State. So I had to make sure I go back and clarify that from the beginning when I said that. I know you're not a self-promoter. You said it early. Like I said, I've been knowing you a long time now, going back to your Nova United days. Like, wow. If you had to choose 3 adjectives to describe yourself, like, which would you choose?
Adjectives. Let me do some words. I think I don't even know if they're adjectives, but not in any particular order. I think I'm extremely consistent. It's easy to say what you see is what you get, but what it is, I'm readily available all the time. The same person you see on this video is going to be the same person you see out on the street. It's going to be the same person you see at a game. It's going to be the same person you see, you know, at the Final Four, right? I take pride in that because it's not a lot of guys that are like that, you know. A lot of guys need to be unmasked, you know, for sure. A lot of guys. I think another one is I'm loyal. And, you know, loyal means a lot of different things, but, you know, I'm there for guys, you know, even guys I don't know. You know, you can call me. I'll try to help anybody I can help. You know, I'm not a guy that keeps score. I'm not a guy that, you know, that says, you know, you owe me because I did this. Nah, you know, I want everybody to eat. You know, I want everybody to win. I think another one is, what's another one? I'm trying to give you something that's not. I said consistent. I said loyal. Oh no, help me out, man. What's another one?
I mean, you're caring. That's what you definitely should say.
Definitely that. You know, I try to say thoughtful. You know, I try to say thoughtful. You know, I sometimes, and it could be a fault, I put others before myself a lot, and but you know, and I'm thoughtful. You know, I always wish well on everybody. You know, even guys that I really don't bang with like that, I just kind of keep my distance. You know, but I'm definitely reaching out to people, asking, you know, how you doing, you know, checking on your family, you know, guys that I'm close with. So I say thoughtful.
Awesome, man. What person and or event has had the most influence on your life?
Person and or event. Without a doubt, I think the person would be, you know, my mom. That's an easy answer. You know, had me at an interesting time in her life, and you know, I owe damn near everything to her. You know, all her prayers. You know, even my family. You know, as a collective unit. You know, all her prayers, all her pushing. You know, watching her drive. You know, wanting to be successful. You know, so she's proud. You know, definitely. You know, yeah, I say moms for sure. And there's so many people that kind of you know, that helped me along the way. It definitely took a village. You know, my aunts, my uncle, you know, my grandmother. You know, growing up with a chip on your shoulder because of some things that you didn't have. You know, so then you start thinking of, you know, some people show you how you don't want to be, right? They show you like, nah, like I definitely not gonna be like that. Like, but moms, the family, those are good ones.
Yep, that I mean definitely great ones. I'm gonna say. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your young self or younger self to prepare for as an assistant coach?
To prepare, I would say two things, right? So the first thing would be, you know, we take jobs, and sometimes you have specific roles on a staff. And I don't believe in that. And I work with two different guys that work completely differently. But, you know, I'll tell myself, you know, don't just recruit, even though that's what they tell you to only do, right? Even though, you know, you have other roles, you scouted, you did all this other stuff. But, you know, I had a guy tell me that my job is 98% recruiting, right? So you know, put your foot to the pedal, you go all out for that. And then at the end of it, they tell you, well, you didn't do XYZ. You got to do more of this. They tell you that, which was, total BS. But so knowing that, try to do everything, make them tell you no, right? Tell you no, I don't want you to do this, right? Make them tell you that. So then at the end, if there becomes an end, they can't use that against you. And then the second thing, which is most important now, like this is a nugget for young coaches too, is like take control of your career, right? Do what's best for you and and your family, and don't be so connected to a guy that you work for, and let them dictate your career, because they're doing what's best for them. Like, when in doubt, they're doing what's best for them 10 out of 10 times. So make sure you do what's best for you. And if that means that, you have other opportunities, to move around, if it's a good fit, take advantage of it. And if you're really good at where you were, they're going to try to get you to stay. And, that happened several times, in my career, damn near begging to stay. And then you miss out on opportunities, and then people do what's best for them. And then sometimes you can get the short end of the stick. So just take a hold of your career, and do the things that, help you grow and get to where you want to go.
Love those nuggets right there, man. So I want to thank you again, man, EJ, for being a guest on the show and being unmasked. Like, is there anything you want to say to the viewers before we leave?
I just want to thank you again, man, and thanks for having me. I think what you're doing is great. I like the shirt. I like the new logo in the back. I've always appreciated you, man. You're definitely my brother. It's been almost 20 years, man. And that beard looks a little different on you, man. That beard is looking different on you. I like that.
Yeah, I'm being told every day I need to cut it. I need to get a haircut, and I need to shave my beard. So I'm fighting a fight that I can't win.
Hey, keep it going. This is different, LB. This is different.
It's different. That's what I got to keep saying. So just say you got to grow on you. So, no, man. But I thank you, man, for coming on again, and thanks just for not just the friendship, but just being a brother, man, and that's huge. And so I want to say thank you, viewers, for watching another great show. Stay tuned for the next guest as we get them unmasked. See you next time, and stay safe.